Hi everyone, it's time for Choi Yeon-suk's talk about Japanese military and security. The other day I posted a YouTube video titled Dokdo Dispute, and some honorable man whom I respect suggested I should upload the video in English. So I'm going to post it in English. So let's start the story about the Dokdo Dispute with the English version. Today, I would like to talk about the territorial dispute of Dokdo as the last story of Japan's territorial disputes. Dear viewers, as a Korean citizen who loves Dokdo, I hope you will watch this video until the end. Subscribe and like. It will be a great help if you support me. Dokdo. This is the beautiful image of our land Dokdo seen from the sky. Dokdo is made up of a total of 91 large and small islands, including the East and West Islands located in the southwestern part of the East Sea between Ulleungdo and Japan's Oki Islands. With a total area of 187,000 square meters, the highest peak is Daehan Peak in Seodo at 168.5 meters. It is said that the Gyeongsangdo dialect name of Stone Island, which means Stone Island, became Dokdo by borrowing the yin and hun of Chinese characters. In the past, it was called Usando. Dokdo is a volcanic body of marine island origin formed about from 4.6 to 2.5 million years ago. And it is protected as Natural Monument number 336, designated on November 20, 1982, owned by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, as an island with great historical and scientific value. The natural ecosystem is managed as a special island with excellent quality. Since the late Choi Jong-duk, who first resided in the area in March 1965, there have been 26 people, including Kim Shin-yeol, 20 members of the Dokdo Guard, 3 lighthouse keepers, and 2 employees of the Dokdo Administration Office of the Ulleung County Office. Recently, the number of annual visitors to Dokdo has exceeded 200,000. And my wife and I visited Dokdo on August 26, 2008. I was overwhelmed at the time. There are residence dormitories on the West Island where the highest peak is located, and berthing facilities and security forces are located on the East Island. Administratively, it is Dokdo, Ulleungub, Ulleunggun, Gyeongsang-bukdo, but Japan is also incorporated into Okinoshima in Shimane Prefecture. As you are well aware, the Dokdo dispute is a territorial dispute between the Republic of Korea and Japan over Dokdo Takeshima. Our government maintains that there are no official territorial disputes and that the word dispute is not appropriate. The Dokdo dispute is linked to the historical debate of how to view the domination and jurisdiction of Dokdo before the 20th century. And the two sides are facing each other without any concession, so the dispute continues to be difficult to resolve both textually and academically. Citing historical documents such as the Samguksagi and Annals of the Joseon Dynasty, and based on Usando recorded on ancient maps, our side claims that Dokdo is an annex to Ulleungdo, and that Dokdo has been the original territory of the Republic of Korea since the 6th century. But the Japanese side claims that Usando is an island where Ulleungdo, Guanin Island, Jukdo, and so on the base of the Usando not exist, and refused our claim that Usando is Dokdo and does not recognize Joseon's domination of Dokdo before the 20th century. In the end, the issues surrounding Dokdo can be summarized in 3 points. In other words, who discovered it first, and who took effective control? Is Japan's annexation of Dokdo by the Shimane Prefecture notification of 1905 valid? What is the interpretation of the disposal of Dokdo by the Allied High Command after World War II? Let's take a look at the arguments on both sides. First of all, our position. The government's basic position on Dokdo is our own territory, which is undisputed by history, geography, and international law. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs website has detailed historical facts on the basis that Dokdo is our own territory, but I'll mention just a few important points. In 512 years, General Isabu of Silla dynasty conquered Usangguk, and the history of Ulleungdo and Dokdo began. There are records of continuous management of Ulleungdo and Dokdo in the Sejong Chronicle and Sejongsil록 geography. In Sejongsil록 geography, there is evidence of a license for crossing the sea in Japanese data, and a character named Anyeongbok appears at the end of the 17th century. There is also a record of the Anyeongbok incident stating that Dokdo is the land of Joseon. This is the so-called Anyeongbok incident, which caused diplomatic problems between the two countries when Anyeongbok went to Japan twice in 1693 and 1696 to claim Ulleungdo and Dokdo as Joseon territory. In any case, Anyeongbok played the role of private diplomacy at the time, and it can be greatly appreciated for providing clues for resolving the territorial dispute over Dokdo. As a result of the Anyeongbok incident, Joseon began to implement the Ulleungdo exploration system. During this time, the Japanese shogunate replied that Ulleungdo and Dokdo were not part of Japan's territory domain. In January 1696, the Japanese shogunate banned the siege of Ulleungdo. In the Dongguk literature remarks, it was stated that both Ulleungdo and Usan were Usangguk land, and that Dokdo belonged to Ulleungdo and was our land. And the report of the Inspector General of the Korean Diplomatic Relations by the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs around 1870 and 1877 directives issued by the Daejeongan, Japan's highest administrative body, also state that Dokdo was recognized as Korean history. Finally, in 1900 years, Gojong issued Edict No. 41 clarifying that Dokdo was under the jurisdiction of Uldo County. It is said that Japan re-established Japan's sovereignty over Dokdo in 1905 with Shimane Prefecture Notice No. 40, which was part of Japan's step-by-step encroachment on our national sovereignty and that it is an illegal act that violates our country's long-established territorial rights to Dokdo, and therefore cannot have international legal effect. Japan's Shimane Prefecture celebrated the 100th anniversary of the notice in 2005 by establishing Takeshima Day. And after the defeat of Japan, the Supreme Allied Commander began to rule Japan. Directive number 677 said that the South Kuril Island, the four northern islands, and Dokdo were excluded from Japanese territory. Later in 1951, the San Francisco Peace Treaty was signed, which restored Japan's sovereignty, claiming that Dokdo was not specified. They argued that the Allied directives immediately after the defeat were null and void, and that Dokdo was recognized as Japanese land by the international community on the basis of the final San Francisco Treaty. However, a conclusive document was found that Dokdo is our land. On December 5, 3 months after the Treaty of San Francisco, SCAPIN 677-1 was issued. It separates Dokdo and the four northern territories from the Japanese government. It can be seen as the final decision of the Allied powers to exclude Dokdo from Japanese territory. Now, let's look at the Japanese arguments. The basic position of the Japanese government is that South Korea continues its illegal occupation without any grounds, even though it is clearly Japan's own territory in terms of historical facts and international law, and that it will resolve the issue calmly and peacefully in accordance with international law. This is a post on the website of the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs about Dokdo's territorial claims. This is an overview of Japan's position on Dokdo's territorial claims and Korea's illegal occupation. It is alleged that Dokdo was illegally occupied by the Seungman-Ri Line, and that Korea repeatedly rejected proposals to refer it to the International Court of Justice. It's about Japan's perception of Takeshima, and it was called Matsushima earlier. They claim to have been aware of the island's existence since ancient times. They claim the Japanese have been using names for this island for a long time. In 1880, the Japanese government conducted a field survey of Ulleungdo and confirmed that Dokdo was officially named Takeshima in 1905. This is a refutation of our claim to historical recognition of Dokdo. It denies the contents of Dokdo in Dongguk Yeoji Seungnam. They insist that during the Edo period, the Japanese people ran Ulleungdo exclusively. They deny the fictitiousness of Han Yong-bok's statement and the fact of the Korean literature. Finally, at the request of the residents of Oki Island, it was incorporated into Japanese territory in 905 by a decision of the cabinet. It points out that the name of Dokdo was not used in the Korean Empire Edict issued by Gojong in 1900. Japan also argues that Scapin 677 and 1033 are not final decisions on territorial attribution. They argued that the San Francisco Peace Treaty invalidated Scapin 677. At the time, Assistant Secretary of State Lusk also denied the claim to Dokdo. The designation of Dokdo as a U.S. military bombing training area in the 1951 Japan-U.S. Administrative Agreement is said to be the U.S. recognition of Dokdo as Japanese territory. Nonetheless, in January 1952, the Seungman-Ri Line was established and Korea illegally occupied Dokdo. In response, Japan claims that it has made 3 proposals to refer the case to the International Court of Justice, but South Korea has rejected it every time. On the website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, 3 areas are listed as territorial disputes, and a detailed explanation of this is given. In the 223 Defense White Paper, it is also stated that it is the inherent history of Japan. To summarize the above, it is said that at the beginning of the Edo shogunate in the 17th century, the shogunate approved fishing activities on Ulleungdo and Dokdo and established territorial rights over Dokdo. In the early 1900s, as the fishing industry began in earnest, it was incorporated into Shimane Prefecture in 1905 by a cabinet decision to reaffirm its territorial claims. But in fact, during the Russo-Japanese War, Dokdo recognized the territorial value of its military value and quietly incorporated Dokdo into Japan. At the cost of victory in the Russo-Japanese War and the invasion of Korea's sovereignty at the time of the signing of the Treaty of Protection of Ulsa Bojoya in 1905, it was powerless. And during the Japanese colonial period, Japan effectively controlled it, and after the defeat, it was returned. Allied Directive Number 677 omits a little bit and invokes the Treaty of San Francisco, claiming that Dokdo is Japan's own territory, which has been excluded from the land returned to Japan. In 1952, Seungman-Ri Line declared illegal occupation of Takeshima continued. However, in January 1952, President Seungman-Ri unilaterally declared a peace line and continued to illegally occupy Dokdo. Japan has made 3 proposals to refer this issue to the International Court of Justice in order to resolve it peacefully, but the Republic of Korea has refused its charm, and it is said that it will continue to resolve the issue peacefully with the Republic of Korea and has been actively asserting its sovereignty over Dokdo year after year. Looking at the arguments of both Korea and Japan, it seems that Japan will never give up on the territorial dispute of Dokdo and will continue to fight and stretch, but to draw my own conclusion. I believe that the following 5 measures should be implemented to protect Dokdo in the future. First of all, the entire nation should be thoroughly aware of Dokdo. Our Korean people must know about Dokdo geography, history, and the rationale for our own territory. The second and most important thing is which side is an effective control. Among Japan's territorial disputes, Russia is under effective control of the issue of the 4 northern islands with Russia, and Japan is under effective control of the Senkaku Shodo Island east with China. The effective controlling side naturally takes the initiative and has an absolute advantage. I believe that the transfer of territory is absolutely impossible unless one side subjugates the other by force. We must further consolidate and strengthen this effective governance. No matter how much Japan makes a fuss and goes berserk, it must take appropriate measures on the spot and ensure that it is effective governance. Third, Japan's proposed refer the case to the International Court of Justice should never be accepted. Fourth, we have to keep going to conduct activities to severely protest Japan's territorial claims to Dokdo, Takeshima. And finally, in case of emergency, we can resolutely respond to Japan's armed provocation against Dokdo. We must continue to prepare a strong and effective defense plan for Dokdo and conduct regular drills. By the way, October 25th is our Dokdo Day, which was established in August 2000 by the Dokdo Guardians, a private organization to commemorate October 25, 1900. When Gojong enacted the Korean Empire Edict No. 41, declaring Dokdo as an annexed island of Ulleungdo. Just as Japan celebrates Takeshima Day on February 22, please remember it well. Dokdo, our own territory. Let's protect it until the end. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.